In the words of Bishop Robert Barron, Lent is mainly a penitential period, a time when people come to grips with their limitations, their sins, their attachments, in order to prepare for real communion with God. Which, of course, makes me think of another quote by C.S. Lewis. No man knows how bad he is until he's tried very hard to be good. Case in point. I remember well that time I swore a fast from potato chips. No sooner had I made my heartfelt and pious vow than I found myself tearing into a bag of tortilla chips. The aftermath of crumbs that laid across my belly mock me to this day. Hey, why be a failure when you can take a pick and be a glutton for punishment as well? Speaking very vulnerably of his own failures, St. Paul bemoaned to the Roman saints, I don't get it. For what I want to do, I don't do. But what I hate, yep, that's exactly what I do. So where does that leave us during Lent? Well, it leaves me in failure. And in my failure, truly with God. Allow me to explain. Often overlooked is the crown of thorns and thistles that Jesus wore during his crucifixion. More than a mere instrument of pain or mockery, Jesus's thorns and thistles were the crown of failure that you and I were supposed to wear. Remember at the beginning of our sacred narrative, just after the fall, God tells Adam that cursed is the ground because of his sin, and that it would produce thorns and thistles for him. Why thorns and thistles? Because within the biblical text, thorns and thistles often serve as a symbol for failure. In other words, God was telling Adam that the once blessed ground that was supposed to produce only blessedness was now going to also produce failure for him, which is why humankind would work it by the sweat of their brow. In other words, fear of failure would cause all of us an inescapable anxiety. That is, until Jesus reversed the curse. Which is exactly why Paul could speak so powerfully to the church at Corinth about his own vulnerabilities and shame. Paul said, I will not boast about myself except about my weaknesses, my failures. Indeed, in order to keep me from becoming conceited, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a kind of Lent, if you will. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord, take it away from me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness, and not absent of it. To be sure, as Lewis also said, it's when we notice the dirt that God is most present in us. It's the very sign of his presence. How can that be true? Because of the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey liked to say. And the rest of the story is that Jesus wore your and my failure at the cross when he allowed himself to be crowned with thorns and thistles. In the reality of Lent's thorns and thistles, you and I are left more fully prepared for real communion with God, because in the necessary realization sin and shortcomings have crowned Christ with our failure, we come to know the real Jesus of Easter, the one who crowns us with his success in fulfilling the glory of God that we are. So, welcome to this season of Lent. May it be as horrible as Easter is happy. Amen.